Josh Homme, we are, we're close. We're not far away from the release of your first song from this brand new album, which is called Villains. Now officially announced, produced by Mark Ronson. And the first song that you're going to be sharing with the world. What's it called?
It's called The Way You Used to Do.
Thank you, because I was definitely going to pick that up.
I guess I never thought about how confusing that is, but it's
sure?
kind of exciting now.
Are you sure? I think you did.
I have no interest in manipulating any. No, okay, let's just go.
How do you feel when you're sort of on the eve of releasing music? You pour your heart and soul into it, and I mean, when you first started releasing records compared to now, that sense of anticipation or expectation, how does it make you feel?
I have a great sense of relief because it's a bit like going like, "You hold this," and then they hold it, and you walk away, and you go, "It's yours."
Yeah.
It's a relief because I don't have to hold it anymore, and it's none of my business now, because you can't you can't guarantee that it will do, and that's too iffy for me to get involved in.
Sure, but you have to make a decision about what song people are going to hear, right? Well, you don't have to put the whole album out in its entirety.
Don't get me wrong. I always thought it should be this song. And because it just sort of claimed to be the one that was like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because there is a certain amount of who's gonna run this gauntlet?
All right.
And that song,
I got this. Yeah, I got
I'll
this.
go for it, man.
Yeah.
And I think that a song that jumps right up and says, "I'll dance that gauntlet," is really like, I'm thankful for that because no matter what it does, I'm like, look at it. They jumped right up and
look at you go. Look at you. Proud of you.
Wanted to do it.
Proud of you. Proud of you.
Yeah, because I think it's much different for me than it is for somebody else on the other side of that. I'm glad that one jumped up and wanted to dance its way through the gauntlet. So I'm like, no, let the boy go. Let him go.
There it is, man. We love it. It's called The Way You Used to Do.
Yes.
By Queens of the Stone Age, song number 1 taken from an album. It's actually song number 2. Yes, slow clap with some boogie.
No, that was from the song,
He slow clapped me, but at least he put some swing in it.
Yeah.
But it's the second song on the forthcoming album, which is again, if we're looking at things in the terms of what albums mean, and the structure of albums always feels like
yeah,
single
number two.
Right?
Yeah, it was gonna be number 1, except for feet, to clawed its way in there.
That is a good time. That's a good time, and really the central component of that song is the most simple thing you've ever done.
Yeah.
And when you clap, right? Now I think when you clap in tempo, this is where I'm going to geek out. Some people will hear that like 4 on the floor. But when that clap comes in, even before you hear anything else around it, it's clearly swinging.
Yeah. It all stems from what you love too. I love, in the mornings can be tough. Are you a morning person?
Nope.
I also am not a morning person unless we stayed up, and then I'm like, it's the morning. I feel a sense of pride, It's like, but I'm looking for ways to avoid grumpiness in the morning because that's not a way to start the day.
So this is it.
Cab Calloway, Dean Martin. Mm-hmm. If you listen to many of the Mucha and like all the swinging stuff, or there's this cat C.W. Stone King that's from Australia that's great too. That's plays in an old manner, that almost 20s jazz, or this boom 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 boom,
this big band rhythm.
Yeah, man, it's just wonderful, and that sort of swing just after morning after morning after morning for like a few years of just going there. You start to go.
Yeah. What would it sound like if we did that?
Yeah, like where do we belong in all of this?
Yeah.
And I think it's where influence is one of the greatest things ever. Is like influence shouldn't be like, we should copy that, because that's gross. But it should be like, where do I belong in this too? It resonates with me already when I listen to it. Mm-hmm. So if I were going to be that, where do I be in all that?
It's like one of those really great moments where I listen to you and I go, wow, and it also feels to me like, and I said this when I heard it the first time in the other room a while ago, and you didn't punch me, which was a relief. And I said it.
So let's not get across any punching things, is it?
I said it feels like no one knows has a sister has like a swinging sister, like like just a really cool, like a best friend.
Well, you said that too, and you were like, I think you finally got to something that could take on that song too, because I think sometimes you have if you're lucky enough to have a successful moment, you're sort of like that's on one side of the scale always, and someone's waiting to like, can you put something to level it off?
Yeah.
And
well, it just means you don't have to end with that song now. You can probably start with
it. Well, but also, I love that song and I love playing that too. So I don't get sick of stuff like that because, that's like, I'm thankful for that song and all, and it's came from a good place. And so what's there to get mad at? When people are like, we're not going to play our hit song. It's like, well, yeah, because you're going to spend all your time getting out of your own ass.
Yeah, basically.
You know what I mean?
You're lost.
Let the cheeks go loose so the stick will drop out.
That song is amazing, and how was it when you when you got the guys in the room to kind of play it for the first time and get a feel for it?
Well, the way you used to do was the first song I had, and we were actually on tour at the end of the last record, and I had this. I was setting up a home studio, and I thought, well, I should test it and make sure it works, because I don't make demos, because I just don't believe in them, But I said, well, I'll test it, and I just wrote that thing and came up with this song, and I liked it so much, I was like, I can't listen to this because I don't want to get sick of it, So I didn't listen to it for a year and a half, but knew it was there, and I would sometimes go da 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 da, and I thought, oh, I won't sing it, and I played it for the guys once, and I think that immediate reaction is a great litmus test for if something is good or not. And everyone, I just put it on in the room and didn't do anything, and within a few seconds, everyone was like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Great, okay, great. So I'm not going to listen to this for the next year, and that's great, And so it was the first song for this record, and it was the only song we really knew.
Wow.
But it was like, this is the direction. I think one song becomes the sort of talisman for where you're going,
Who's the first person you played the finished version of the way you used to do to?
To Brody.
Yeah, what did she say?
Brody's such an honest person, and our relationship is like, you have to be honest about the music, and she was very complimentary, and I was really relieved.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
I bet.
It's about her anyway.
So you met Mark when you were working on Gaga, right?
I did. I'd met him a couple late nights before that, here and there. Within an hour of working with him on this Lady Gaga stuff, the references, that glossary you used to talk about stuff, and what was important to him, and I realized there's grand overlap of interest and fascination and elation in making music,
Because for you, you're a producer, Josh. You produced Vultures, you produce Monkeys, you produce Queens of the Stone Age. You've learned what you need to know to make your records sound big. So why a producer at all? And in particular, beyond the glossary, why him? Because you know how you want your band to sound.
Yeah, well, and to a certain extent, I know that it could also, I could render someone so it's unchangeable, And so there's a safety in knowing that, but also I think it's our seventh record, and we have the luxury of having found a sound that's ours. But by the seventh record, if you're not careful, that's parody, and you end up a cartoon character on the wall. And I think there's a need to sort of identify who you are now, and while the most dangerous game is to retain that sense of self and take the risk to be something new. And I realized that that's really where I wanted to go with this, especially because that would be exciting too if you could unlock that code of reorientating your sound. Then your newest record needs to be the very best one that's made off of the experience and failures of the last one, so that you could actually. That could make you a better person. You could leave baggage behind. There's so much that could happen if you make a great record and you really mean it.
Was it exciting? Was it fun to make?
What's interesting is that we always have fun because we get along and we are honest and talk about things. But they get more difficult to make somehow. You think you're making something that wasn't there, but somehow it feels like I'm mining, taking something out, and then it's gone. You were asking why Ronson too, and I think one of the reasons was to act like a talisman as a reminder of, you know, listening to Uptown Funk, right? It's very tight and vacuous. It sounds fucking great, and I was like, I knew I wanted to make something very tight and with the air sucked out of it and very clear, you know, and. So he was just a great reminder as an opening. And then his desires are so beat-centric, and so are mine, that we had this tremendous amount of overlap. And then, you know, that sort of giggling over the gold, like the excitement of creating something, he has that. During the making of this, I kept calling things, we're going to crescendo camp, where things take over for a second. Because it was like, why can't something take over the mix and bury it? And then when the tablecloth is pulled, you reveal this next thing. And he was very into that idea. So was Mark Rankin, who we worked with on the last record as well. And so, you know, you get these philosophies that you start working on, and they sort of take over.
What's going on with the video? I'm assuming you're gonna make a video for it.
We are. Yeah. Can't give away too much of that yet, but it's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the worst treatment for a video that you've ever received to memory?
I think it's the video that I did in my head.
Right.
Where I just was we were making this video, and I was looking at the thing back, and I was like, this is terrifyingly awful. And then I just split. I split, and it's like, where'd Josh go? And I was like, he went home.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was like, my name's Paul, y'all. And I just...
You were out?
Yeah.
Because you were looking at the monitor.
Yeah, and I was like, I was in a particular state of mind.
Did you say goodbye, or did you LAX it?
No, you got a French exit that, where you're just like, when the phone's not ringing, that's me.